Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the gracious, ever merciful. We are about to start the second session of 30th Jalsa Salana Australia. This session will be chaired by Dr. Riaz Akbar. May I request Dr. Riaz Akbar to please come on the stage and chair this session. Thank you. Dr. Riaz Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. May peace surround you with Allah's blessings and His mercy. We start the second session of this Jalsa Salana with the recitation of the Holy Quran, and for that I invite Muzaffar Mirza Sahib, please.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنساب إنما الخمر والميسر والأنساب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون؟ وأطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول واحذروا فإن توليتم فاعلموا أنما على رسولنا البلاغ المبين. ليس على الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات جناح فيما طعموا فيما طعموا إذا ما اتقوا وآمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ثم اتقوا وآمنوا ثم اتقوا وأحسنوا والله يحب المحسنين. English translation of these verses. In the name of Allah, most gracious, ever merciful. O ye who believe, wine and the game of hazard and idols and divining arrows are only an abomination of Satan's handiwork. So shun each one of them that you may prosper. Satan desires only to create enmity and hatred among you by means of wine and the game of hazard, and to keep you back from the remembrance of Allah and from prayer. But will you keep back? And obey Allah and obey the Messenger and be on your guard. But if you turn away, then know that on our Messenger lies only the clear conveyance of the message. On those who believe and do good works, there shall be no sin for what they eat, provided they fear God and believe and do good works. And again, fear God and believe. Yet again, fear God and do good. And Allah loves those who do good.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah. The next here is a poem, and that poem will be presented by Naik Muhammad Saab.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ.
وعلیکم السلام ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.
حضرت خلیفۃ المسیح ثانی المسلم موعود رضی اللہ تعالیٰ عنہ کے زندہ و جاوید کلام سے چند اشعار. عہد شکنی نہ کرو اہل وفا ہو جاؤ. عہد شکنی نہ کرو اہل وفا ہو جاؤ. اہل شیطان نہ بنو اہل خدا ہو جاؤ. جو ہیں خالق سے خفا ان سے خفا ہو جاؤ. جو ہیں اس در سے جدا ان سے جدا ہو جو ہیں اس در سے جدا ان سے جدا ہو جاؤ. حق کے پیاسوں کے لیے آب بقا ہو جاؤ. خشک کھیتوں کے لیے کالی گھٹا ہو جاؤ. عہد شکنی نہ کرو اہل وفا ہو جاؤ. بحر عرفان میں تم غوطے لگاؤ ہر دم. بانیے کعبہ کی تم کاش دعا ہو جاؤ.
اللہ اکبر. اللہ اکبر. صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم. صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم. زندہ باد. اللہ اکبر.
بحر عرفان میں تم غوطے لگاؤ ہر دم. بانیے کعبہ کی تم کاش دعا ہو جاؤ. قطب کا کام دو تم ظلمت و تاریکی میں. قطب کا کام دو تم ظلمت و تاریکی میں. بھولے بھٹکوں کے لیے رہنما ہو جاؤ. بھولے بھٹکوں کے لیے رہنما ہو جاؤ. راہ مولا میں جو مرتے ہیں وہی جیتے ہیں. راہ مولا میں جو مرتے ہیں وہی جیتے ہیں. موت کے آنے سے پہلے ہی فنا ہو جاؤ. موت کے آنے سے پہلے ہی فنا ہو جاؤ. मौरद फज़लो करम वार से ईमानो हुदा मौरद फज़लो करम वार से ईमानो हुदा आशिके अहमदो महबूबे खुदा हो जाओ आशिके अहमदो महबूबे खुदा हो जाओ अहद शिकनी ना करो अहले वफा हो जाओ अहले शैतान ना बनो अहले खुदा हो जाओ
Thank you very much, Sheikh Mohammed Saab. Beautiful melody, and certainly a lovely selection of the poem that you recited. These verses were in Urdu language, which is the language commonly spoken in North India and in Pakistan, and they were written by the second successor of the founder of our community, Hazrat Ahmed. These were a sort of prayer for we, the members of that community. Many couplets, very moving, and that's why you heard many people in their emotions raising slogans about it as well. That it would be a feature of this session, and it's a feature of most sessions of our get-togethers that spontaneously under the force of emotions that sometimes capture people will be raising slogans, and they responded. One of the couplets, for example, said, "Qutb ka kaam do tum zulmat o tariki mein, Qutb ka kaam do tum zulmat o tariki mein, bhule bhatkon ke liye rahnuma ho jao." A prayer, may you become a lighthouse in this time and era of darkness, and may you become a source of direction for those who have gone astray, and so on. I welcome you all. Our babies and toddlers in the laps of their parents. I welcome our children soaking the atmosphere of this Jalsa and getting into the spirit of it. May you be here years and after years and after years, and may you see this session growing and becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. I welcome our ladies, our gents. You are spread in 3 different halls in this big arena of the premises over here. I welcome our guests who have joined us. Some of them may be first time who have come over here. Most welcome. Feel comfortable. Enjoy your stay and time over here. There are a number of people around here to assist you and to help you in case you need some help. Just raise your hands and I'll keep my eyes open. I'll try, of course, to see and then point somebody towards you. Toilets, there are more than one. If the door on your left, just go out and keep on looking towards your right, and you'll find the toilets there. And before that, there's a staircase, and there's the emergency exit. There are more than one emergency exits from this hall, and there are emergency exits from the other hall as well. In this session, we have already started, of course, and we started with the recitation of the Holy Quran, and then there was a poem that was recited. There are two speeches in this session, two main speeches, and in between them, we will be requesting our guests to express their opinions and their points of view and their feelings about our get-togethers as well. They'll be invited at different time. There are a few other aspects of this session as well, and it should see us through to lunch. Let me introduce the speaker of the second speech and the chairperson of this session simultaneously. That happened to be me. Riaz Akbar is my name. I'm primarily a scientist. Radioactivity is my specialty. That's bread and butter. Being of this age now, I run my own little consultancy. I am on the board of directors of a few companies, and I still hold an adjunct professorial position with the university in Queensland. The speech that will be delivered first is to be delivered by Mr. Muhammad Rahmat Samiullah. Rahmat Samiullah is from Victoria. Rahmat Samiullah is an MBA, and before that he had a degree in computer science as well. Varied interests, members of many different organizations, Australian Computer Society. He's also a member of Supporting Shooters Association, and he counterbalances it by being a member of Australian Deer Association for deer conservation and Victorian Deer Association, and so on and so forth. The topic of his speech is the importance, benefits, and use of mosque in the society. So, Muhammad Rahmat Samiullah on the topic of the importance, benefits, and use of mosque in the society. Yep.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا تقم فيه أبدا لمسجد أسس على التقوى من أول يوم أحق أن تقوم فيه رجال يحبون أن يتطهروا والله يحب المطهرين. Holy Quran, chapter 9, Al-Tawbah, verse 108. Never stand to pray therein. A mosque which was founded upon piety from the very first day is surely more worthy that thou shouldst stand to pray therein. In it are men who love to be purified, and Allah loves those who purify themselves. Honorable Chairman, respected elders, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to address in today's auspicious congregation. And I'm grateful to the Almighty God for having blessed me with this opportunity to talk on a topic of such paramount significance as the importance, benefits, and use of mosque in the society. While I wish to place the essence of this topic before you, I seek the help and guidance of the Almighty God in this responsibility. Speaking as I do, I will clarify the importance of mosques while presenting the historical records, and then present the role a mosque plays in society according to the Holy Quran, sayings of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam, and the successors of the time. Within this short time frame, I might not be able to present the whole picture, but I will try my best to show you a little glimpse. The verse which I recited from the Holy Quran clearly directs that a mosque should be built to promote piety and righteousness among the believers, and should not be used to create division among them. In Arabic, the word used for mosque is masjid, which means a place of worship or prostration. And masjid is derived from the Arabic word sajda, which literally means he prostrated himself or she prostrated herself. In Arabic, the mosque is also called Baytullah. As we see today, there are millions of mosques worldwide, but each and every mosque is unique and has its own identity. For example, Baitul Futuh in London, meaning House of Victories. Baitul Huda here in Sydney, where we are gathered today, means House of Guidance. And Baitul Salam in Melbourne, meaning House of Peace. These are the three mosques from so many all around the world, acting as a complex that provide the Ahmadiyya Muslim community with a central focal point for meetings, social and religious events, and act as important information centers. Historical and archaeological records show us that most of the nations have built places for worshipping based on their own religious beliefs. Contrary to other places of worship during the history, mosque was not built only for worshipping and holding religious ceremonies, but for achieving many other purposes in the Islamic society, but primarily meant for the remembrance of God. As the Holy Quran says in chapter 22, verse 41, I quote, "If Allah did not repel the aggression of some people by means of others, cloisters, churches, synagogues, and mosques, wherein the name of God is oft commemorated, would surely be destroyed." Unquote. The three fundamental aspects that a mosque fulfills is, firstly, a mosque facilitates and promotes worship of Allah, and therefore fosters a personal bond of love and devotion between man and his God. Secondly, a mosque is essentially a first step towards fostering unity and brotherhood amongst people, and consequently a powerful force in our endeavors to unite mankind. And finally, a mosque provides an effective tool for inviting people to Allah and is conducive to the propagation and progress of Islam. Muslims make use of mosques for purposes of congregational prayers, but this is not due to any feeling that the sites or buildings of these mosques possess any peculiar sanctity for the purposes of divine worship. A mosque is built to enable Muslims of the neighborhood to assemble for the purpose of congregational prayers. Mosques facilitate the performance of collective worship and are used for other religious and social purposes also. Any building that is used for the purpose of congregational prayers by the Muslims is a mosque. Mosque is one of the many blessings which Allah Almighty has bestowed upon a Muslim, as He made the earth pure and made it a mosque. As the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "I have been granted 5 things which were not granted to any other prophet before me. One of them is, the whole earth has been made a mosque and pure for me. So whenever the time of prayer comes for any one of you, he should pray wherever he is." Bukhari and Muslim. Muslims believe that the first place of worship ever built in this world was the Kaaba in Arabia, the most holy place of Islam, towards which millions of Muslims all over the world turn their faces 5 times a day during their prayers, and to which each one of them endeavors to make pilgrimage at least once in a lifetime. As we read in the Holy Quran, chapter 3, Al-Imran, verse 97, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا وَهُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Surely, the first house founded for mankind is that at Becca, abounding in blessings and a guidance for all peoples. The literal meaning of Islam is peace, and its role in the world is the same today as it has been through the centuries, namely to help establish and foster direct communion between human being and Creator, and to bring about beneficent adjustment in the relationship between the different sections of mankind. And great emphasis on the building of mosques has been laid from the very beginning of Islam, and that the fundamental aspect for anyone who builds a mosque is pure intention. They should be free from any subversive thoughts and should have a sense of sacrifice. As we read again in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, Al-Baqarah, verse 128, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And remember the time when Abraham and Ishmael raised the foundations of the house, praying, Our Lord, accept this from us, for thou art all-hearing, all-knowing. The mosque plays an important role in the life of a Muslim. It is not only a building where Muslims go to worship, but also a center for the community that attracts Muslims from all walks of life, enabling them to bond together and develop a sense of brotherhood. Mosques are the retainers and containers of divine grace and blessings. According to the saying of a holy prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mosque is a house of God-fearing people. This means, in effect, that it is a center for the inculcation of reverence, where individuals learn what is meant by piety and are thus prepared for a life of devotion to the Almighty. The mosque is built so that people may visit it to read the Book of God, to remember their Creator silently and in prayer, and to hear His commandments on how they should lead their lives, that is, how to conduct themselves according to His will. The most important of all the activities carried out in the mosque is the saying of prayers, a ritual to be carried out 5 times a day, as prescribed by Islam. This act of worship, the greatest means of instilling a sense of awe in the devotee, may be carried out at any place, but ideally is performed in an organized manner in congregation within the mosque. As we read again in the Holy Quran, chapter 7, Al-Araf, verse 30, قُلْ أَمَرَ رَبِّي بِالْقِسْطِ وَأَقِيمُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ وَادْعُوهُ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ كَمَا بَدَأَكُمْ تَعُودُونَ. Say, my Lord has enjoined justice, and fix your attention aright at every time and place of worship, and call upon Him, making yourselves sincere towards Him in religion. As He brought you into being, so shall you return. Mosques are used not solely for the purposes of congregational and individual worship, but for all kinds of religious and intellectual pursuits. They serve as schools and for the celebration of marriages, as courts of law and places of meeting where plans are settled for the social and economic progress of the community. The mosque is a place where staying righteous, fulfilling the requirements of justice, one comes in the presence of Allah to gain more blessings from Him by prostrating in front of Him in extreme of humility and obedience. So a mosque is for developing high moral qualities. Mosque plays an important role in society because God enjoins to go to mosque with the adornment which would enhance the beauty of taqwa, meaning righteousness. And as explained by promised Messiah ﷺ, taqwa is manifested when rights of God and mankind are paid. When efforts are made to elevate standards of worship of God, when one's salat, meaning worship, is safeguarded and one is mindful of the sanctity of mosque. No structural design has been prescribed for a mosque, nor is a mosque divided into naves and transepts, nor does it possess anything resembling an altar. The mosque, the Muslims gather for divine worship in the simplest possible manner. At the appointed hour, the worshippers collect in the mosque and range themselves in rows to indicate that, having concluded their individual worship in their homes or in the mosque, they are now ready to offer collective worship to God. They praise God and render thanks to Him and offer prayers to Him for their own spiritual, moral, and physical advancement, and of their friends and relations, and of the whole of mankind. We find a perfect example of dignity, equality, and brotherhood when we see the rich and the poor stand shoulder to shoulder with each other. The king may find his shoe black standing next to him. A judge may have as his neighbor an accused person who is on trial before him, and a general may be standing next to a soldier. No worshipper may object to another worshipper standing next to him, nor may any worshipper be moved from his station to another. They all stand humble and subdued in the presence of God, and bow and prostrate themselves and revert to the standing posture under the leadership of the Imam. In addition to the prescribed services, Muslims offer prayers and devote themselves silently to the remembrance of God and ponder over His attributes whenever, during the day or night, they can find the opportunity of doing so. During the early days of Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, there was no mosque. The Muslims carried on worship in their own houses, or 2, 3, or 4 of them together in the neighboring hills outside Mecca, in secrecy for fear of hostility. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, used the house of Hazrat Arqam radiallahu ta'ala anhu when he felt the need of some place where the Muslims could gather together without hindrance for prayers and preaching the message of Islam for about 3 years. On this account, it became known as the House of Islam among Muslims. To emphasize the great importance of the mosque in the shaping of the Islamic society, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, began to build a mosque as soon as he migrated to Medina, even before building his own house, and took part in the actual building himself. This mosque served as the launching point towards the practical implementation of Islam within both the state and society. The first mosque was very modest and basic. Its pillars were palm trees and its walls were made of clay. But this modest mosque was the first school of the Islamic campaign. It was called Masjid-e-Quba or Masjid-e-Taqwa, Mosque of Piety. The second and the greatest of all the mosques was Masjid-e-Nabawi in Medina. It was the headquarters of the Islamic State. It was the school where the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, instructed his companions. In that modest building, he cultured the Muslims with Islam and purified the bodies and the souls and defined for them the truth. The mosque had a strong and effective role in making the society stronger. It was a meeting place. It was the headquarters of the Islamic State's supreme leadership. It was also a center where the state's affairs were run. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, used to meet the envoys, sign agreements, judge between disputing parties, and so on. The mosque used to be a place where judges would convene to settle disputes and look into complaints. The mosque was a center for learning and teaching, where the learned teach the basics of Islamic belief, the acts of worship, and other topics such as political, economic, social, and judiciary. The policies were based on the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, with the aim of building and educating the Islamic personalities by way of study circles, debates, and conferences. The mosque was a school and university that welcomed everyone. Day or night, summer or winter, requiring no application form or permission, and it does not turn anyone away, be they young or old, male or female, Muslim or non-Muslim, black or white, Arab or non-Arab. Entry into the mosque did not require any fee, insurance, or any permission. There were no hindrances, no obstacles, nor did the mosque differentiate between the layman and a scholar, nor between a ruler and a subject, and nor between a wealthy and a poor person. The mosque was an eating place for the hungry and the needy. It was a place for celebrations, socializing, and amusement. It was a place where people in need could ask for help. It was a place for consultation and exchanging of views and ideas. It was a place for counseling. The mosque was a platform for oratory, eloquence, and poetry. It was used as a detention center for the prisoners of war. It was a place where the war booties were divided. It was a hospital where casualties of war were treated. It was a home and refuge for the poor, the needy, and the travelers. It was a place of relaxation and siesta, and a place for rest. The mosque is regarded as an important Islamic information center, since it is the scene of the political, social, cultural, and ritual life. All the important news related to vital issues are announced in the mosque, and it also ensures a direct contact between the carrier and the receptor of the relevant info. It is considered to be one of the most effective and successful means of information. As we see today, that when our Caliph delivers his Friday sermon from Baitul Futuh Mosque in London, or from any other mosque from any part of the world every Friday, it is broadcasted worldwide through Muslim Television Ahmadiyya International Network around the world and listened by millions at a single given time. Recently, His Holiness visited Australia, and all his Friday sermons from Baitul Huda Sydney, Baitul Salam Melbourne, and Baitul Masroor Brisbane were broadcasted live globally. The Azan, which is the call for prayer, for instance, is information about the time of prayer. The mosque is a place where the pleasure of Allah and good reputation are sought. It also acts as a source of water supply, since after reaching a mosque, the worshippers purify themselves with water as they perform ablution. Therefore, some sort of water supply is essential in every mosque. For centuries, the mosque wells were the only source of water supply for the towns. The mosque gives a sense of peace and striking prosperity. I find it important to present here the role Ahmadiyya mosques play in the society here in Australia. I am delighted to say that our mosques have served various purposes, starting from creating harmony in whichever society they have been established, to serving as meeting places for councils and local communities. For example, this very mosque where we are here today in Sydney has served as a meeting place for local council and community. The Brisbane Mosque has served as a meeting place for agricultural research students, and the Melbourne Mosque has started a new project recently called the Harmony Creek Project, in coordination with the local council and Melbourne Water, where the local community meet and work together on beautifying the local area. Apart from these, Ahmadiyya mosques have been organizing few events in a regular fashion, such as peace symposiums, interfaith dialogues, where different faith leaders and members discuss the positive role different faiths can play to promote harmony, tolerance, and brotherhood, charity walks, tournaments, sports rallies for fundraising for victims of earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis, Red Cross door knock appeal, blood donation drives, White Ribbon Day, Australia's biggest morning tea, and Clean Up Australia Day, where the top 5 sites in whole of Australia are of our community, representing different areas. Australia Day is an important day in the lives of community members here in Australia. The day is proudly celebrated wherever our community is here in Australia by inviting neighbors, special guests, and members of the civil society to join the prayer ceremonies at the mosque. We were privileged when recently the federal member for Holt, Honorable Anthony Ban, especially spoke about our community in his speech at the Parliament after attending our Australia Day celebrations this year at Baitul Salam Mosque in Melbourne. Now, I would like to present some sayings of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, that reflect on the importance of mosques. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "O people, praise Allah. Whoever builds a mosque for Allah, Allah the Exalted shall build a house for such a one in paradise. Mosques are the houses of Allah, and those believers who enter therein are the guests of Allah. Those who visit the mosques in the darkness, convey to them the good news that Allah shall bestow upon them from Himself perfect light on the day of judgment. When any one of you enters a mosque, let him pray that, O Allah, open up for me the doors of thy mercy, and whenever anyone from among you leaves a mosque, let him pray, O Allah, I seek from thee thy blessings." Now, I would like to present some sayings of the promised Messiah ﷺ on the importance of mosques. The promised Messiah ﷺ emphasized that the foundation stone of the renaissance of Islam and superior world order have been laid. Now, mosques will be built and people will enter therein and join the divine movement in droves. Nurul Haq, Volume 2, page 42. On laying the foundation of Mubarak Mosque in Qadian in 1883, the promised Messiah ﷺ received the revelation, I quote, "This is a blessed mosque to impart blessings. Every blessed work will be done in it," unquote. Brahine Ahmadiyya, Volume 4, page 559. Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad, the third caliph of the promised Messiah ﷺ, during a series of sermons in 1968, elaborated on great reasons for the building of mosques and said, "In the building of Baitullah, as the first house of God, we are instructed to build houses on the same model and purity at every place so as to provide mankind the same benefits as contained in the verse, Mubarakun wa hudal lil alameen, which translates as abounding in blessings and guidance for all mankind." Now, I would like to present few words from our present Caliph, Khalifatul Masih V, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasir al-Aziz. Inaugurating the Al-Mahdi Mosque on November 7, 2008, Huzur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasir al-Aziz clearly explained this concept and role of the mosque and said that merely the construction of a beautiful mosque is not sufficient. It is imperative to fulfill the objectives of a mosque, that is, turn to Allah with pure intent, with a heart that is replete with the desire to seek His pleasure, as well as fulfill the rights of fellow mankind. The real beauty of the mosque will be apparent when we tread the path of taqwa, which means righteousness, and fulfill our objectives. Only then would one be rightful recipients of the saying of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, that God makes a home in paradise for one who builds a mosque on earth. Huzur Ayyadallahu Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz said it cannot be expected from the community of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam, who was sent in the latter days, so that people may recognize Allah, so that creation may honor creation, that their mosques will be a cause of pain, or God forgive us, be a source of spreading disbelief, or that they will give refuge to hypocrites. Therefore, we have to spread the message of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam in our surroundings, and let the world know that the Mahdi, who was to come in the subservience of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to remove the troubles of the world, has indeed come. He had come to lay the foundation of peace and conciliation, and the mosques of his community shall lay the foundation of love, peace, and forbearance. Today, the Ahmadiyya community is at the forefront of the communities who work towards alleviating the pain and suffering of others. Our services all over the world are selfless, unique, and numerous in scope. Commenting upon Ahmadiyya mosques at the opening of Bradford Mosque, UK on 9th November 2008, Huzur Ayyadallahu Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz said, "Our mosques promote equality. Our mosques are the one that put forward the hand of reconciliation. Our introduction to the world is that we wish to remove the world from strife and discord. Today, the words and acts of each Ahmadi should be of love, so that they are able to join hearts together and remove all friction from the world. Those who are well acquainted with us will certainly bear witness that the Ahmadiyya Jamaat as a community always spreads the message of peace, love, and tenderness. Wherever they build their mosques, they build them for the sake of the worship of God, and that is the real purpose of building the mosques. Mosques are for reminding people to discharge their duties to God and man, and minarets are for reminding people of this message, standing on which people are called to this light, so man, understanding his reason for being, should brighten his world here and hereafter." To wrap up and conclude my speech, I present another verse from the Holy Quran, which guides us in chapter 7, Al-Araf, verse 32. Ya bani Adam khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjidin wa kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. O children of Adam, look to your adornment at every time and place of worship, and eat and drink, but exceed not the bounds. Surely he does not love those who exceed the bounds. May Allah the Almighty enable us to fulfill our obligations and rights to Allah and mankind, treading the path of taqwa by following the true teachings of Islam and Ahmadiyyat. Ameen, summa ameen, wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Thank you very much, Samiullah Sahab. Thank you so much. अमीर साहब की तरफ से ये बात कही है कि नारे ना लगाएं इस सेशन में, तो उर्दू में इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि जज्बात ज़्यादातर हमारे उर्दू में ही होते हैं, तो प्लीज़ पेश नज़र रखें इस बात को. Samiullah, nice speech, huh? Thank you very, very much for that, and probably it would have been something of interest for our guests as well, who do not belong to our faith over here. The Ahmadis, you probably know, in Australia, we come from many different professions and many different disciplines and many different walks of life. But the mosques in Australia, our mosques, we call them Ahmadiyya mosques, they exhibit our overall collective socio-religious character. Those who have seen this process of evolution of Ahmadiyya mosques in Australia would have seen with that how the community is growing and establishing as a religious entity in this country. You might read behind me over here that this mosque is 25 years old. 25 years old when we put a milestone on the day of inauguration of this mosque by the fourth successor of the founder of our community. That's when it happened. And since then, new buildings have come up over here, our numbers have changed, etc. One character of our mosques is that the strong feeling of ownerships and an element of spirituality that goes with it as well in these buildings. This is because the funds for our mosques come from the financial sacrifices of our own members. There's no other contribution that comes to these ones. So there are many, many other needs of the membership that they sacrifice and put the money in for this collective character of a community, which we open for all. These mosques, as it was mentioned, have been used by university students, by school visits, by many other people to visit, and for many other applications. If you want to see us, come and see us over here, and keep on coming, and you will see how do we go. Yes, it is true that this place is used for primarily for worship, but the hall, this main hall in which I'm sitting, and some of our guests are here as well, is also a hall where we offer prayers in congregation as well as we're meeting here now. There are no hidden nooks and corners here. It's all for you to have a look and to see us. Okay? Many of us very fondly remember the times and the difficulties that the community members go through when they are building the mosque and at the same time enjoy it. I very well recall that when this mosque was being built, the resources were very scarce. We did have a site superintendent and the things were controlled from engineering side, etc. But there was a lot of busy bee work that had to go into the construction at that time. Our numbers were small as well. It was, you see the domes on the top of this mosque? They were actually fabricated by our ladies. It is they who put their hands into the fiber to build that structure, which was then lifted by the crane and went up there, and so on and so forth. In every brick of this mosque, there would be a story of that kind. And we share every mosque, as it has been mentioned, for many, many activities like Clean Up Australia Day and like Australia's biggest tea party and so on. Okay, so come and use it, please. The guests have joined us. I have been given a few names to mention here. Honorable David Clark, Member of New South Wales Legislative Council and Parliamentary Secretary for Justice. Thanks for coming. And we have Mr. Kevin Connolly, New South Wales State Member for Riverstone. I invite you, Kevin, to kindly deliver some words for us. Thank you very much. Yep. Yes.
Thank you very much for the invitation to be once again here with you and sharing a few words with the Ahmadiyya community. It is a great pleasure, one which I've enjoyed over many years, to come here and share an occasion like this with you, whether it's the Jalana Salana, I hope I've got that right,
That's right,
or the Australia Day celebrations, or some other important occasions, the visit of your Caliph, for instance. And on each occasion that I've been here, I've been warmly welcomed by a community that genuinely displays what it says as its motto, that there is love for all and hatred for none. It's an open community that wishes to be part of its new homeland, Australia, and that's been demonstrated in many, many ways that have been listed here by other people. The practical charitable causes in which you become involved to be part of your new country, to be good citizens and good members of your new country. And that is noted and appreciated by many around you. On this occasion, which celebrates the Silver Jubilee of this mosque, the Bait al Huda Mosque here in Marsden Park in Sydney, in my electorate of Riverstone, it is worth noting that it's a wonderful symbolic building that stands as a beacon to your faith. And coincidentally, in recent times, as Richmond Road has been widened and there's been activity out there, it's in a sense been revealed to the community in a much more visible format as the road's been widened and some of the bushes disappeared. And people can see this stark, strong and bold symbol of your faith. And I believe that there'll be many who pass up and down Richmond Road who are inspired to ask and to wonder why that building is there, why those people take that stand, what do they stand for? And it is a great opportunity for you as believers to share your faith with a wider community and to be integrated with the community around you as your buildings here grow. The story that our MC has just outlined of humble beginnings with a community of small numbers contributing at great sacrifice to build this mosque is a story that is shared by many Australian communities, by many people who have come here and for whatever faith, whatever background, whatever ethnic group or culture or tradition they've come from, have sought to build in this new country and make a contribution to this new country and to share their culture, their beliefs, their history and their faith with their children, the next generations and the wider community. And it's a story, therefore, that is yours and ours together. And it binds us all together in this journey that we make in building a country in Australia which is going to be a great country, which is a great country, but which is even going to be a greater country for all who come here. And for those of us who are in public life, and I do acknowledge my colleague David Clark here with you, for those of us in public life, it is our aspiration that this country should be the very best it can be for all who call it home. And that if there is anything that we in public life can do to assist your community, the Ahmadiyya community, or any other, that's our ambition as members of Parliament. So I wish you all the very best on this very wonderful occasion, the 25th anniversary of the Beit al-Huda Mosque, and wish you well as you come together from right across Australia for your conference here. My best wishes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your message. You're always welcome in the future years as well. Thank you. Now the second speech of this gathering is mine. I'll change my seat from here to the rostrum. Or can you give me a start with the next one, please? We take a start. The topic for this speech is Islamic teachings about use of alcohol and drugs. This talk is broken into loosely joined subtitles. Obviously, I'll mention the prohibition of intoxicants, their use in Islam, and I'll briefly describe why do people consume intoxicants, and then what risks do individuals and societies take with it. We'll spend some time with the historical efforts of Prophet Muhammad and early Muslims in eradicating alcohol use. Then a very brief mention of the trends in the intoxicant consumption in the world today, followed by a conclusion. Yep, thank you. That's it, I can handle it. Now, prohibition of alcohol in Islam. It is common knowledge that according to Muslim doctrine, consumption of alcohol for the purpose of recreation and entertainment is not allowed. Quran mentions, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, innamal khamru wal maisiru wal ansabu wal azlamu rijsum min amali shaitan fajtanabuhu la'allakum tuflihun. O ye who believe, intoxicants, gambling, idol worship, and divining arrows are abominations of Satan's handiwork. Therefore, avoid them so that you may prosper. These were the verses that were read at the start of this session as well. Satan desires only to create enmity and hatred among you by means of wine and gambling, and to keep you back from the remembrance of Allah and from prayer. But will you keep back? Quran chapter 5, Al-Ma'idah, verses 91 and 92. So, certain substances, when taken by ingestion, inhalation, or injection, can artificially produce conditions such as unusual and abnormal excitement of reflexes, hyperexcitability, sometimes people call it, dramatic reduction in physical and mental capabilities, a state of astonishment, confusion, and perplexity, stupefaction, as it is called, etc. In addition to intoxicants, I will use words such as alcohol and drugs as well to describe these substances. The word used in the verses of Quran is khamr, which is derived from the Arabic word meaning fermentation and vintage. In fact, Arabs had many different words for the intoxicants. They prepared and they knew many of them. Explaining this further, Prophet Muhammad mentioned that every intoxicant is khamr and every intoxicant is forbidden. Bukhari, Kitabul Ashriba. And everything that causes intoxication is forbidden. Muslim, Kitabul Ashriba. Now, why do people consume intoxicants after all? Now, intoxicants have existed over the human history in almost all parts of the world. The unusual effects in mood alterations, such as mood alterations has influenced many to consume intoxicants for reasons such as seeking pleasure, seeking relaxation, to overcome boredom, or to overcome inhibitions, to escape and forget sorrows, and so on. The consumption could be in solitude, or it could be in a group for sociability, for cultural participation, and in some cases, even for religious activities. But the after effects of consumption of intoxicants are enormous. They are felt not only by the individuals who consume such substances, but also by their loved ones, parents, partners, children, friends and family, neighborhood, townships and cities, countries, and even internationally. In the words of Quran, chapter 2, Al-Baqarah, verse 220, they ask you concerning wine and gambling. Say, in both there is great sin and also some advantages for men, but their sin is greater than their advantage. The risk associated with intoxicants certainly outweigh the benefits. I will only briefly be able to look into some of those risks. International implications, for example. A number of international and national agreements restrict the trade of many intoxicants. On the other hand, the demand is such that illicit trading networks have evolved. A UN report, a United Nations report, based on 2003 data suggests a drug trade value of about $300 billion each year. Now, $300 billion is not a small sum of money. In fact, it is more than annual national trade, or GDP, of 88% of the countries of the world. The head of the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime is justified in the statement. He said, "This is not a small enemy against which we struggle. It's a monster. A large resource which could have otherwise benefited human prosperity is spent in intercepting such trade on the land and in the sea." Intoxicant trade begets other illicit trends. Hence, the warlord, illegal weapon traders, and money launderers dance on the same floor as the drug traders. Arguably, this situation gets exploited even for political gains, civil wars, and resistance in the name of ideologies, etc. Intoxicants, therefore, indirectly kill many of those who don't even take them. Hence, screams of pseudo-happiness under the influence of intoxicants in one part of the world also subliminally echo sobbing and crying of widows and orphans in the other. Alcohol and pregnancy. Australian National Health and Medical Research Council recommends that the safest option for women is to abstain from drinking if they are pregnant, planning a pregnancy, or breastfeeding. In fact, a mother shares her blood with the unborn baby. Hence, when a drug is taken, it is also administered to a very helpless minor. Fetus drinks with mom. The effect may manifest in many different forms. One of them is fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS. Later in life, FAS babies are known to exhibit mental health problems. They suffer from conduct problems in schools, trouble with the law, alcohol and drug dependence, and difficulties in keeping a job or living independently. Australia has many reported cases of FAS. Aboriginal communities in Canada and Australia have significant recognition of FAS issues. Intoxicant and violence. Worldwide, many scientists have studied alcohol and violence relationship. Intoxicants weaken brain mechanisms that would normally restrain impulsive behaviors. Influence of intoxicants may also lead to inaccurate assessment of future risks of one's action. This lack of control on the brain function encourages aggression or violence. Violence under the influence of alcohol occurs at homes, in parties, and on streets. Some victims of such violence themselves seek refuge in alcoholism, and then the cycle goes on. In Australia, alcohol and drug are responsible or a factor in large proportions of reported crimes and injuries. King hit or single punch fatalities have remained a topic over the last year. 90 deaths have been reported during 2000 and 2012. Alcohol and youth. It is assumed that if elders indulged in the so-called responsible drinking, then somehow youth under their influence would do the same. Statistics and published observations of social scientists deny this. It is known that young people would drink on lesser occasions, but then they drink a lot. Australian National Council on Drugs shows that 1 in 8 deaths of people under the age of 25 is now linked to excessive or binge drinking. Productivity loss. Consumption of intoxicants and productivity loss is a well-researched and documented fact. Much has been written about it in Australia. According to a report in 2013, businesses in Australia lose about $6 billion each year due to staff indulgence in alcohol and drugs. There is no net revenue gain to the Commonwealth, to the government through alcohol sale. For example, alcohol is excised and taxed, and in 2004 and 2005 generated $1.8 billion in the federal income. But the corresponding combined state and federal expenditure on the intoxicant-related matters, that is the direct expenditure, has been $3.1 billion, leading to a net loss of $1.3 billion to the taxpayer. Hence, there is a direct burden of intoxicant consumptions on the tax in Australia that is paid by you and I. These are only some of the effects of alcohol and drugs on the society. Considering their ill effects, Islam's recommendations to its followers about avoiding intoxicant should be commended. Now, I move the topic a bit and talk about the alcohol prohibition in Islam, capturing a bit of a history and Prophet Muhammad's contributions. The verses of the Quran that I read at the start about the prohibition of the intoxicant consumption, they were revealed and date to the 3rd or perhaps 4th year when, after ousted from Mecca, early Muslims have started life in the township of Medina. They were a minority in that township, persecuted, stressed, sleep-deprived, as they were threatened by the regular skirmishes from the Meccans. One would think that conditions were ripe for such a group of people to enhance in their indulgence in alcohol. After all, this source of relaxation was abundant, produced locally as well as imported. But quite opposite happened. Muslims gave up drinking. How could a person like Prophet Muhammad cultivate a culture that generations after generations has continued to convince a very large proportion of the people in the world to say no to intoxicants? It is an ongoing miracle. Let us spend some time with it. Prophet Muhammad's sayings and activities are documented in several books prepared on the basis of the statements and observations of those who lived with him. These are called books of hadith. An overall view of these books on the topic of intoxicants would show that Prophet Muhammad took a comprehensive and multifaceted approach towards eradicating alcohol consumption. When the Quranic verses about the prohibition of alcohol were revealed, he arranged for announcements in the streets of Medina. The reaction was immediate. Muslims drained the vessels containing alcohol. But Muhammad's compassionate efforts that spread over several years of his life are also important. They cover discouragement of preparation, service, and consumption of alcoholics, discouragement of preparation, service, and consumption of alcoholic substances. Muhammad practiced rationality and logic, love and compassion to raise people's conscience on this subject. He lived by example. Mirza Bashir Ahmed, research has been published in his book titled Siratul Khatamun Nabiyyin. He mentioned that Prophet Muhammad never took alcohol, and so did some of his companions. But many used to drink before its prohibition was announced. During Muhammad's life, Islam spread to areas beyond Mecca and Medina. He kept a uniform approach about prohibition of alcohol for Muslims, old or new, in all different regions. Thus, if khamr was not allowed for Meccans and Medanites, so was bikt, an alcoholic drink prepared for honey by Yemenites, and mezr, an alcoholic beer prepared from millet and barley. Nabid was a widely popular drink made from fruits such as dates, grapes, or raisins. Preparations could be non-alcoholic, mildly alcoholic, or strongly alcoholic depending upon fermentation. Prophet Muhammad initially asked Muslims not to prepare nabid in wooden casks, containers made out of animal skins, or vegetable shells, such as those of gourd and pumpkin. He would drink nabid from a stone bowl, but would like it to be consumed fresh, maximum 3 days old. Later, after further information and research, he announced, "I had forbidden you from the preparation of nabid and drinking it in certain vessels. But now you may do so, if you like. For it is not the vessel that makes a thing lawful or unlawful. It is every intoxicant that is unlawful." He allowed reuse of alcohol preparation vessels for other purposes as long as they were clear of pitch, an agent such as yeast, containing bacteria or microbes to aid fermentation. While dealing with people habitual in alcohol drinking, Muhammad practiced both assertiveness and care. Before alcohol prohibition in Medina, he and a group of other Muslims once encountered one of his devout companions who was drunk and has committed violence by killing animals belonging to someone else. They found him calmer, but still exhibiting insulting behavior. To allow him to get sober on his own, Muhammad withdrew at that time, and the remainder of the group followed their prophet. In normal Arab of those days, a violent incident like this would have meant start of a war of revenge that could have extended for generations. Caution is needed to be exercised so that possible positive health effects do not become an excuse to justify habitual consumption and addiction. Once a person approached Muhammad explaining how he prepared alcohol and thereby seeking permission for its consumption. Muhammad forbade him. He explained his recipe again and got the same answer. "But I prepare it as a medicine The person said, "It is not a medicine, it is an ailment," Muhammad replied to him. Now, beneficial applications of alcohol. Islam does not deny its followers from the advantages of alcohol and other drugs. Muslim chemists work on developing alcohol-based products. Muslim chemists worked on developing alcohol-based products. Many names appear in the history. Jabir bin Hayyan being the first one of them, 721 to 815. He wrote, "And fire, which burns on the mouths of bottles due to boiled wine and salt, and similar things with nice characteristics, which are thought to be of little use, are in fact of great significance in the sciences." Since then, Muslim scientists such as Al-Kindi, Abu Qasim, Al-Fabi developed methods of spirit distillation. Those days, due to their high inflammable nature, distilled spirits were used as a weapon for the military. Records appear with warnings that such distillates can ignite easily and they should be stored in containers buried in sand. Alcohol was used in perfumes. Ibn Badis developed a paste for writing in silver. It was prepared by pulverizing metallic silver filings in a bed with distilled wine. Interestingly, the alcohol distillation and refinement methods originally developed by early Muslim scientists formulate the basis of the extraction techniques for various fuels such as petrol, high octane, and kerosene from the crude oil. In medical sciences, Al-Razi used distilled alcohol to prevent infection in wounds. During abdominal surgeries, he used compressors soaked in warm wine to push the intestines back into the dressings. Abul Qasim also recommended use of cotton wool soaked in a mixture of rose oil and strong wine to prevent the wound from becoming bad. He used wine during surgery and irrigated infected sinuses with honey and dry wine, and so on. Muslim surgeons used narcotic-soaked cloths on the patient's noses to introduce some sedation. Alcohol use by non-Muslims, alcohol users not belonging to Muslim faith. Islam has generally warned the societies at large about its effects of alcohol. For example, Quran mentions that it is a sign for anyone who would exercise understanding that the fruit juices of grapes and palm trees, etc., can be used as a wholesome diet or making intoxicant drinks. Al-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 68. Early Muslims lived side by side with people of different faiths, both in areas of Muslim majority as well as Muslim minority. Despite known ill effects of alcoholism, they did not impose their belief of alcohol abstention on other members of the society. Ibn Abbas was a companion of Prophet Muhammad. Some people asked him about the commerce of wine. He asked them, "Are you Muslims?" "Yes," they replied. Upon that, Ibn Abbas said that its sale and purchase and trade is not permissible. In Syria, many monasteries and convents manufactured wines. Alcohol shops also existed in the major cities of Egypt and Iraq, including the capital Baghdad, where from the early Muslims ruled for centuries. These shops, which were run by the Iraqi Christians, even exported alcohol to the countries in the West. We come back to the modern world. Current use of intoxicants, especially in the Muslim countries. Nowadays, intoxicants are traded worldwide under a number of different names and brands. But it's true that despite widespread consumption, most people in the world do not drink. Almost 50% of all men and 70% of the women did not consume alcohol in 2005, for which I had the statistics. This is the statistics according to WHO. Intoxicant consumption in the West is either leveled off or at some places it is even decreasing. In the West, the country that consumes least alcohol per capita is actually the United States. 30% or more than 30% of people in the United States abstain from alcohol. But it is true that the alcohol consumption is increasing in the Muslim majority countries. In Sunan Abu Dawud, there is a saying of Prophet Muhammad that some people of my faith will take intoxicants, calling them by different names. Prophet Muhammad also mentioned that the use of alcohol will become abundant in the later days. Unfortunately, these sayings seem to be applicable to the Muslim of the world today. During the period 2005 to 2010, alcohol consumption has increased by 25% in the Muslim majority countries of the world. Illicit drug consumption is additional to it. United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has released a report titled Drug Use in Pakistan 2013 Survey Report. The statistics are shocking. About 6%, or 6.7 million Pakistani adult men and women used chars, opium, and heroin. Out of these, about 4.5 million have become drug dependent, but the treatment facilities are available only for 30,000 people each year. Afghanistan is the world's largest illegal opium producer. United Nations 2007 report traced 93% of the world's opium-based drugs traceable to one single country, Afghanistan. Muslim names living in the West are often represented in the drug trades. So there's a responsibility, the responsibility of us belonging to Ahmadiyya community. We, as the member of the Ahmadiyya faith, claim to be a group of people striving to show the world those original values of Islam that were practiced by Prophet Muhammad and his companions. Perhaps we have a responsibility to demonstrate to our fellow Australian that it is not essential to have alcohol or drugs to feel relaxed and to overcome boredom. Nor it is necessary to enjoy the company of our family, friends, or professional colleagues, and that for that purpose, we should raise a glass full of spirits. Yet, simultaneously, like those early Muslims, we need to accept that total abstention may not be a value that we should impose on our friends belonging to different faiths and different points of view. Hazrat Ahmad, the founder of our community, once said, "Should I find a friend of mine lying drunk in a marketplace and a crowd of people gathered around him, I would, without any fear of what people might say, carry him home and look after him." May we have the courage to say no to intoxicants and yes to our colleagues and friends when they are in need. हर बहर के गवास बनो, लेक मई शर्त, भीगे नहीं दामान, खुदा हाफिज़ नासिर. Thank you very much. I say thank you to myself as a speaker as well, people. Jacqueline? Not here, okay, all right. Is there David Clark is there, so we move on to David Clark then, okay. Now, the Honorable David Clark, thank you, if you can say a few words.
Thank you to Amir Mahmood Ahmed, who is not in this hall but has joined together with us through closed television, distinguished guests, representatives of the Sikh community whom I see here today, and dear friends in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Can I say it's a great honour and joy to be here today at this 30th anniversary or annual convention here in this magnificent mosque. This mosque, which in its whiteness represents the purity of God and in its grandeur represents the greatness of God, and in its gracefulness represents the beauty of God. You know, inaugurated 25 years ago, the Silver Jubilee this year. And this convention is testimony to the fact that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is alive and well and flourishing. You have a great new centenary hall behind us, which opened last year, and it was my honour to be at the opening of that centenary hall. And now the Ahmadiyya community is growing throughout Australia, comprising many thousands of adherents and thriving. And more than that, it is a peaceful and law-abiding community. It's an achieving community. It is a good community and a godly community. It's known for its humanitarian and charitable works throughout the nation. It's known for its devotion to our nation. Each year you hold an Australia Day program, a celebration here in this very mosque. You're known for your ecumenical understanding, for your interfaith dialogue. The Government of New South Wales and the Parliament of the People of New South Wales are proud of its Ahmadiyya community here in New South Wales.
Allahu Akbar. Zindabad.
We are proud of the part that the community plays for the good of Australia. I remember the visit to this mosque, to the centenary hall behind us, of His Holiness Mirza Masroor Masih V, a religious leader who was respected around the world, respected in religious circles of other faiths, respected worldwide. And he came here for that visit with a universal message of love for all and hatred for none, of love of nation, of no compulsion in religion. That was the message that His Holiness, the Caliph of the Ahmadiyya communion worldwide, brought to this nation. And we in turn love your leader, His Holiness, for the message of harmony and peace and love that he is spreading around the world, and he spread when he was here in Australia. And we wish that that message was practiced by others overseas who persecute the followers of the Ahmadiyya faith. In places like Pakistan and in other countries where incidents occur from time to time. We regret and we abhor the persecution of the Ahmadiyyan community in these places, and the discrimination against them, and the murder of their followers, the destruction of their homes, the burning of their mosques. We abhor all of these things, and we wish that power holders in these countries, particularly in Pakistan, would intervene to give the same freedom to the Ahmadiyya followers as it would give to others in that country. We seek earnestly that will happen in the future. What a shame it is that the first foreign minister of Pakistan, that a former president of the General Assembly of the United Nations, of a president of the International Court of Justice, Ahmadiyya, a believer, would in present-day Pakistan face discrimination and possibly even persecution. What a crying shame it is that the first Muslim in all of the world to receive the Nobel Prize for Science, a man from Pakistan, an Ahmadiyya believer, could face persecution and discrimination in that country today. As I say, we seek earnestly that those who have power, that they wield that power to give full freedom and dignity and peace to the Ahmadiyyan community. Now, this year, 125 years of age, founded in 1889, now all over the globe, 15,000 mosques, hundreds of schools, dozens of hospitals doing humanitarian work. What a great growth that has been in those 125 years. And in Australia, we have a situation where the Ahmadiyya community has never been discriminated against, and is not discriminated against today and never ever will be discriminated in this country as long as there is freedom and democracy. Never will one hair on the head of any follower of Ahmadiyyan faith be affected in this country.
Good.
So,
Zindabad. Zindabad. Zindabad.
indeed, long live Australia.
Long live
Australia. And dear friends, have a great convention. I can see it's a great convention, having heard that last speaker. And can I say to you, sir, that I have never had an alcoholic drink in my life, and I never will have an alcoholic drink in my life. So I identify with the message that you gave here today.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know that the message taught by the followers of the Ahmadiyya faith is a message that is a pathway to peace, and is a message which is a pathway to God. And for that reason, I honour and exalt and praise the Ahmadiyya community, and I wish it well in this great convention here, in this beautiful and wonderful mosque devoted to the glory of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Those who want to clap may clap, not a problem. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, David Clapp. Thank you for expressing your feelings. You spoke with your heart, and it probably moved hearts as well. It's true. Getting persecuted is something not pleasant. When in a country like Pakistan or some other places in the world, when Ahmadis get persecuted, I can relate to that feeling. When you get that sense of being brushed aside from your own social fabric, for whom you have worked, for whom you have spent your life, and your generations have spent your life, and you have to move on, is stepping into a big world of uncertainty and leaving a good part of yourself behind. The language changes, the norms, societal norms change around you. And yes, it is true that most of the members of Ahmadiyya community have reached this land disowned by their own people, and Australians accepted them. So thank you, True Blue. You did a great job for us. And yes, we undertake the responsibility and pledge to return the best we can. Most of our members in Pakistan enjoyed a higher literacy rate than what the company had. We structured ourselves like that. We still, in the world, would like to keep that status going. It might take us a generation or so to settle to that level in Australia, but we will get there. All the signs are there. The statistics speaks for itself, and it goes in our favor in that respect. And we'll keep on struggling in that direction. Now, at the same time, I really like the word that you use, the democracy. It is the land of opportunities for all of us. At the same time, it's also true that the message of Islam is universal. It is not something that when we moved, the message was left behind there. We have carried our values, all those good values that you see in the form of our participation in Clean Up Australia Days or Red Cross Appeal or Love for All and Hatred for None, general services, etc. We have brought that with us. We will keep that with us, and I'm very confident we'll be able to pass it on to our future generations as well. Thank you so much for your encouraging words for our community. Now, at this stage, I need your help, Omar. Yes, all right. Yes, now there are some people, some of our guests couldn't join us, but we have messages from them, and I request Dr. Omar Shahab to kindly convey those messages to the audience.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you. We have received a few messages from the guests who could not attend this gathering. The first message is from Mr. John Robertson, Member of Parliament, and he's the Leader of the Opposition. He sent his message last night. Message of support from the New South Wales opposition leader John Robertson. I am honored to support the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association's 30th annual convention and congratulate all members on the silver jubilee of the Baitul Huda Mosque. For a quarter of a century, the Baitul Huda Mosque has been an important gathering place for Sydney's Islamic community. I would like to thank you for the contribution your community makes to not only Sydney, but to our whole state, sharing our support for human rights and protecting the most vulnerable in the society through charitable work. And for decades, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association of Australia has made a significant addition in our multicultural and religiously diverse society, promoting peace and tolerance. I extend my warm wishes to all the attendees for a memorable and successful convention. John Robertson, New South Wales Labor Leader. The second message is from Honorable Michelle Rowland, Member of Parliament, Shadow Minister for Citizenship and Multiculturalism, Shadow Assistant Minister for Communication, Member for Greenway. Ahmadiyya Muslim Association Australia 30th Annual Convention. I send my sincerest apologies for not being able to join the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association of Australia for your 30th Annual Convention. Peace, loyalty, freedom, equality, and respect are the 5 principles I associate with the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association. These are the tenets promoted and displayed by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, and they are inherently universal values that we should all promote and enjoy. One of the great aspects of our community is its diversity. People come from all over the world to call Australia their home, and they work to improve their fortunes and the nation's fortune. And it is organizations like the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association of Australia that work to promote and build on our multiculturalism. And on this day, celebrating your 30th annual convention, I would like to thank you for your outstanding work. Michelle Rowland, Member of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Umar. Before you go, is there anything of what? Is it there? Okay. Now, one feature of this get-together today is award presentations for distinct achievements of our community member. Now, that takes us in the same direction as we were saying. Small community, recognizing the people who excel, and we build up on that. So I request Sarfraz Rahim sir. Is he here, Sarfraz Rahim sir? Sarfraz Rahim to kindly help with the award presentation ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. The awards, the Certificate for Academic Excellence has been running for about 9 years now, since Huzur's visit in 2006. We had a lot of students receiving awards late last year, which was held in October. Usually, we provide these awards at Jalsa Salana, which is held in March or April. So this year's award there's 13 successful awardees, because a lot of them received some awards in October as well. Usually the number is a lot higher. So I have 7 awards to give out here today in this forum, and there will be about another 6 to be distributed during the ladies' session later today. I'd request the chairperson, Dr. Riaz Akbar, to kindly give these awards out.
Thank you.
Shall we do it here?
Here, you want me to go down there?
And
Come on.
could I kindly request, there's 7 awards, so could I request the recipients to come from my left, please, and come and receive the award from Dr. Riaz Akbar Sahab. The first one is Mr. Badi Ahmed. Mr. Badi Ahmed. He's received an award for the Primary School Ducks Award. So he was the ducks of the entire school at Claremont Meadows Public School. The second awardee is Mr. Waqas Ahmed Baloch, but in his place we have Mr. Ayaz Mahmood Sahib to pick up the award. He hails from Queensland, and that's also for a Ducks Award, but it's for Secondary School Ducks Award at Woodridge State High School. Do we have Mr. Ayaz Mahmood Sahib here? No. The third is Aisha Masood. Unfortunately, she could not attend this Jalsa, so we have her father receiving the award, which is Maulana Masood Ahmad Shahid Sahib, for a distinction in Bachelor of Medical Science from Griffith University. Our next recipient is Mr. Umair Muzaffar, also from Queensland. Unfortunately, he cannot be here, but we have Mr. Amjad Khan Sahib receiving the award, or instead your son, Uwais Khan. The award is for credit in Master of Engineering from Griffith University as well. Next recipient is Mr. Ataul Moshin Waris, also from Queensland, for distinction in Master of Clinical Science, specializing in clinical physiology. Do we have him here? No. Is there a Jamaat president from Queensland here? No. ठीक है, Jazakallah. Next recipient is Usman Iftikhar from Blacktown for distinction in Master of Engineering Management from University of Wollongong. Our final recipient today is Shah Ali Rashid. It's a professional award for a chartered accountancy so he's a CA from the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Australia. In his place, we have his father, Mr. Tariq Rashid, picking up the award. Jazakumullah. That's all for the Award of Academic Excellence this year. There's another 6 students to receive award during the Lajna session. I will simply read their names out, but they will be awarded during the Lajna session, which is Maria Makbul for HSC with an ITA of 90.1 from Chiefly College. Amna Shah Rashid, HSC award as well, with an ITA of 92.35 from St. Mary's High School. Gaiti Ara Zareen Tasir, another HSC awardee with an ITA of 95.6 from Merisi College in Canberra. Hania Sayed, HSC awardee from Gangalin College with an ITA of 94.45. Amatul Noor Sabah Aslam with distinction in Bachelor of Biomedical Science from Griffith University. And Aisha Khan with a distinction in Master of Applied Project Management from the University of Adelaide. Jazakumullah. Thank you.
Congratulations to all those people, our girls, our boys, for achieving what they're achieving. Achieving in the world of academia is an ongoing exercise. It doesn't stop. And it's just achieving things of the kind that you are achieving is actually an art. And once you become an artist in this field, it is good to stay as an artist all the life long if you possibly can. May you all convert your junior studies in the same good way, even for your senior studies. And when you're completing your senior studies, may you carry these excellence into your professionalism as well. Be true to your professions. This is a religious message to us, that we got to be honest and true to our professions, no matter we are politicians, or we are engineers, or we are doctors, or we are journalists or lawyers. We need to excel at it, or at least we need to truthfully follow it and truthfully work for our professions. Join the professional bodies. Contribute in the professional bodies. This is our future. This is our land to which we owe to work hard in all those areas. So kindly just take these medals or these distributions that you get as a milestone. It is just one step forward. And may you see more successes of the kind. Those who are getting into the PhD, may you publish and publish in reputable journals, and all those publications that you get as the time goes by become your medals, and then may you prosper further and further from there as well. Now, the session, there are a few things about the session that went by. You might have noticed in one speech, a word was used, promised Messiah. Now, the word promised Messiah is a common word that we used for the founder of our community, Hazrat Ahmad. In Islam, Prophet Muhammad prophesied the arrival of a reformer in the later days. And a promised person, we call him promised Messiah. And also because of his similarities of a role similar to Jesus Christ, but in Islamic faith. So the word promised Messiah is used for that. He lived in India about more than a century ago. There were a few other terminologies like that. We apologize if those terminologies were very new and very extraneous to our guests, but I hope that the gist of the speeches would have gone through to you. We now request Sam Dastiari. Sam Dastiari side. He's running late. Oh. He'd love to be here and he would love to speak, but he's not here at this stage. So I think I cannot talk on his behalf. I will make an announcement that if he turns up while we are still continuing, then we certainly would have him talking over here as well. Some of you acknowledged the 30 years of convention. some of you acknowledged 25 years of building of this mosque. 30 years of convention is, this convention, we call it Jalsa Salana, or annual convention. Jalsa Salana is the word used for that. It's a tradition established by the founder of our community, and now the communities nationally hold these Jalsa Salana in different parts of the world. In many different countries it is held. I recall the very first Jalsa Salana that was held in 1983. Still the number counts to be 30 because there were some changes that occurred here and there. That Jalsa was attended, I should remember that because I was given the responsibility to write down the names of people who attended it. I passed it on, I noted down in my notebook, and there were about 50 or so, including the youngest born child. It was held in a shed. That shed still exists over here. We use it as a part of our kitchenette around here. That's where the Jalsa was held. That's how the life started in our community over here. And these are the places where you find yourself today. The 25 years of mosque, I have already mentioned what it is. It is really the inauguration of this mosque. And I very well remember those days as well when the inauguration, when the foundations of this mosque were actually laid in this area. And we not only need to enjoy the development that has happened over here, the entire development in the Blacktown area. And for that, the community needs to be congratulated as large. This whole area, because has come a long way over that 25 years of period in which this mosque has developed. And so the prosperity is there around us as well in this area. When this mosque was built, it was not so. Of course, it was different. So I think the credit of development, the credit of expansions, the credit of what is happening around us goes to the community at large as well. And we are simply a subset of it, a part of it. And everywhere we go, we probably will remain a part and a subset of that development. The same is happening in Queensland as well, and in Victoria, and in Adelaide, and so on and so forth. Are there any announcements to be made? Yes, there are some announcements by Dr. Umar Shohab, and then we'll bring this session to a conclusion.
Thank you.
Yep.
We won't keep you long, but there are quite a few announcements, so please bear with me. The first one is that exhibition for there is an exhibition for books and pictures. So normally it's open for everyone, but between 5:30 to 7 p.m. today, it's only for ladies. So there are some ladies who want to spend some time there, but anyone can visit bookstall anytime other than these between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. today. The other announcement is that Ahmadiyya Medical Association meeting will be held tomorrow at 9 a.m. and all the medical staff, all the medical professionals and paramedics are also requested to join this meeting, which is tomorrow at 9 a.m. तो अहमदिया मेडिकल एसोसिएशन की मीटिंग जो है वो कल 9 बजे होगी और तमाम मेडिकल और पैरामेडिकल पीपल जो है उसको ज्वाइन करें.
Where will that be? Is there some information there?
That would be in the mosque downstairs.
Downstairs.
Also, Ahmadiyya Architects and Engineers Association meeting will be held after this session here today. So anyone who needs information on that, Azhar Mahmood Nasir, please contact him. So Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, Ahmadiyya Engineers Architect Association की meeting अभी आज दोपहर होगी इस session के बाद. There are some cars which are parked at a wrong place, so please bear with me. I need to announce those numbers. AA55KP, Ford Falcon, DYY235, Toyota Camry, AY71TD, Toyota Orion, BH45GS, Toyota Corolla, AT51AI, Toyota Camry, BGW62K, Subaru Liberty, and YXD445 Hyundai, and AW87BM Ford Falcon. So all those cars are parked in the wrong place, so may I request the owners of those cars, please move them to the proper car park, which is a soccer ground car parking. The last announcement is that once the session concludes, we have allowed some time for socializing, for networking. So please feel free to mix together, and also downstairs when you go outside the mosque, there is a exhibition of books and photographs, so please feel free to go there. That's the main area for networking and socializing. So, and then lunch will be served at 1 p.m., so there is some time between now and lunch so that you can spend and make some new friends and meet new faces. With lunch, there is a dedicated area for guests. So in that dedicated area, we invite all the guests, we invite hosts of those guests, and we invite National Amla members and missionaries and all the Jamaat presidents and overseas guests. So that area is in front of the mosque next to the shed. As again, please feel free to move around, and lunch will be at around 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With these announcements, we bring this session to conclude. But one question over: who is guiding the guests to the exhibition? Yes. Okay. Yes, guests. You would. There will be somebody to guide you to the areas where we have got the exhibition, book exhibitions around, and we would. Please come in. Please join. Never late. Great. Okay, we welcome you. Yep. Yes, I can hear it here, but probably it will catch up. Yes, so we would. There's room there, and for you to please see some exhibits about our community. It is over there at the books that we publish, as well as to meet the members in general. There will be many people there. You can mix with them, you can talk with them, and in no time, there will be lunchtime then. Thank you very, very much for joining in. Thank you. Jazakumullah.